Law enforcement is on high alert across the country today after former President Donald Trump called for his supporters to protest in the event that he's indicted. Extra barricades are up around the criminal court in Lower Manhattan, where the former president is expected to be charged for allegedly falsifying records to hide campaign finance violations. It's tied to payments made to adult film star Stormy Daniels. Robert Costa has more.
Steel barricades were brought into Lower Manhattan after former President Donald Trump predicted his arrest and called for protests. Inside the courthouse, the grand jury continued its work on Monday, hearing from the potential final witness.
He's totally unreliable.
Attorney Bob Costello, a longtime Trump ally, was brought in to testify about Cohen's credibility. Cohen was Trump's former fixer and a key witness in this investigation.
If they want to go after Donald Trump and they have solid evidence, so be it. But Michael Cohen is far from solid evidence.
It was Cohen who made the alleged hush money payments to Stormy Daniels in the final days of the 2016 campaign. He later pleaded guilty to felony charges related to that payout.
This has many similarities to a mob case for the main witness to have problems, blemishes, even convictions, and it will fall to the prosecution to say, sure, Michael Cohen has some issues, but here is why you can believe him.
Many House Republicans are defending the former president and are calling on New York District Attorney Alvin Bragg to submit testimony on what they call a politically motivated prosecutorial decision.
Some bookkeeping error from 7 years ago is misdemeanor is now what they're going after. So it makes absolutely no sense.
And Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, a potential 2024 rival to Trump, criticized the DA, but also had this to say.
I don't know what goes into paying hush money to a porn star to secure silence over some type of alleged affair. I can't speak to that.
CBS News has learned that an indictment is not expected on Tuesday, but could come sometime later this week. Meanwhile, Trump's campaign has been issuing a flurry of fundraising appeals to his supporters. Anne-Marie, Vlad.
All right, Robert, thank you very much. So, Keir Dougall is here with us in Studio 57 to discuss this case. He is a former federal prosecutor. Good to have you here. I was pummeling you with sort of some questions before the show started. Let us start with this, though. If the Manhattan grand jury decides to move forward with an indictment, what happens then?
Right. So Mr. Trump will be arraigned. He'll be processed, photographed, fingerprinted, all that stuff.
Right. Mugshot, the whole nine.
We would expect him to be entering a plea of not guilty, and then we're off to the races. There'll be discovery, perhaps motion practice, and then a trial will be scheduled.
And then what are the options for the former president in terms of responding to a possible indictment? And I just want to sort of underline the fact that though the former president said he thought he would be picked up today, he'd be arrested today, there's no indication that that will happen at this point. It certainly didn't come from the courts or any place. So should he be indicted, then what? How does he respond?
Well, there's some educated guessing about what this indictment will look like. It appears that there may be a mashup of some state and federal law to be the basis of these charges. Mm-hmm. I would expect him to test that with a motion to dismiss, which could, if he is successful with that motion, would substantially, impair the prosecution going forward.
Mm-hmm. Can we talk a little bit about the possibility of the mashup? When I was kind of listening to a story earlier today, they said there's a possibility that this could be a misdemeanor charge,
right.
But if they can connect it to something else, it could become a felony.
Right. So in New York State, it's a crime to make a false entry on the records of a New York corporation. That's a misdemeanor as sort of the base crime. But if it's in furtherance of another crime, like a federal election crime here, which is what the sort of educated guessing is what the theory would be, then that could boost it up to a felony.
And the false sort of thing would be pretending to pay Michael Cohen for something that they're
for legal fees when what those payments
really
are actually for is for hush money payments to a porn star.
Right. Okay. There we go. It's been 5 years of investigating this. Why has it taken so long? Do these things typically take this long?
So the Justice Department, the federal prosecutors in the Southern District were looking at this. That investigation led to the prosecution and conviction of Michael Cohen himself. Mm-hmm. At that time, while the president while Mr. Trump was the president, the Justice Department's policy was not to bring charges against the sitting president. So there's a, that block of time is
in a holding pattern.
Right, it's just in a holding pattern. When he lost the election in January 21, there was a period, several months after that, when the Justice Department could have brought these charges. They declined, which is the first, in my mind, sort of the first red flag about this case. The federal prosecutors are very thorough and very serious. They take a very serious look at the case, and they declined. So, yes, it's a good question. Why the delay and why now by a local prosecutor?
Meanwhile, it's not the only sort of legal headache that the former president has to deal with. Trump lawyers submitted a filing yesterday asking a Georgia judge to throw out its report and all testimony related to the investigation into Donald Trump's efforts to reverse the 2020 election loss in that state. We heard plenty about the grand jury that listened to testimony. Some of the members decided to speak. What does that signal to you?
I am not sanguine about the successfulness of that motion. I don't think it's going to be successful.
Right.
So historically, grand juries have had two functions. The one we're the most familiar with is returning indictments and charging individuals with crimes. But another function that a grand jury serves is it's called the presentment, which is a $3 lawyer word for basically issuing a report.
Okay.
So if there's an issue of concern for the community and people want to get to the bottom of it, a grand jury has subpoena power and can take testimony, gather evidence, and then just write a report. It's called a presentment. This grand jury in Georgia appears to me to be in that model, and it's something that is well established. I don't expect a motion to be successful here.
And so sometimes, is there movement on that report? Is there another step after that? Or?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right. So that report can lead to legislation. It can lead to, it can actually lead to charges in a subsequent investigation. But the whole idea is, how do we get to the bottom of some problem?
All right, Keir Dougall, always great talking to you.
Anne Marie, thank you.